Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another tech visionary interviews. The goal of these interviews, as you might already know, is to give some visionary ideas about how to use technology in the business, and our target audience are CXO level managers, decision makers who want to use these technologies. And today we have Joel Oleson, all the way from
Hey,
California. Hey, how are you doing?
it's great to be here. Great to be here with you, Reza.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate that. Before we start talking about our topic, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. I'm Joel Oleson. I'm a MVP and a Microsoft Regional Director. I'm a director in the Microsoft National Practice for Proficient, who is a Fortune, or their primary customers are the Fortune 500, but they are a national. I work in the Microsoft National Business Unit. It's primarily focused on the U.S., but there are customers and global delivery centers all over the world. And it's great to be here. Very excited. In fact, kind of a couple quick things from my background. I worked at Microsoft for about 10 years, 7 of that as a full-time employee. I was the first IT administrator for SharePoint at Microsoft internal. So I've
Nice.
been working with the cloud technologies as well as the Microsoft, say, Office servers, Office apps and servers family since 2000. So I've been that kind of ages me a little bit, but I've been working with it for quite a while, and love the community, love traveling. Travel is absolutely something I'd love to talk about as well. But it's great to be here with you, Reza.
Thank you. Thank you. That's fantastic to see like that background. I didn't definitely know about the IT administrator job. So it's quite interesting that you have been doing like IT for such a long time, and you are still on the edge of technology, like the topic that we are going to talk about. So the topic we are going to talk about today is Project Cortex, which is quite new things, and democratizing AI in enterprise. Let's start with the Project Cortex. What is it? Because it's a new thing. A lot of people still don't know about it.
Yeah, so Project Cortex has not yet shipped, so we're still in the private preview right now. There's a number of customers who have been using it internally, working with very closely with Microsoft. But when you say what is it, it's a knowledge network. This is Microsoft's, let's take all their intelligence AI capabilities and knowledge and intelligence and bring it to the enterprise. It does a lot of the things that people have struggled with over the years, like your ability to do content extraction, your ability to do tagging. It works really well with, say, scanned content in terms of being able to understand it and categorize and group, filter, do a lot of the things that your knowledge managers traditionally over time were responsible for. Now it can actually not only look at your content that's in the Microsoft tenant inside of SharePoint, but also it works with Teams, it works with Office. It actually provides and adds intelligence and connects the experts to the knowledge and the knowledge to the experts. So it's a really fascinating product that I believe is going to be quite innovative, potentially even disruptive in this knowledge network space, in this knowledge management space.
Great. So we can say it this way that like what we used to do for, like, let's say, knowledge profiles, having some people to enter some data in something like a database and presenting it, now is happening with gathering information from all different places like Microsoft Outlook, Teams, all other places. This like built-in AI will gather them all together, build kind of a knowledge base and share among people so that it can connect them together, which is quite fantastic. So what would be like? Definitely, there are some benefits in the connection. What would be the benefit of that in the business? How businesses can leverage this?
You know, I think the one of the key things to really understand here is the ability for how new employees can be connected to past projects and the knowledge of the organization. So, as an example, there's a quote from HP that I love to reference, where the past CEO had said, "If HP knows what HP knows, it could be 3 times more productive." So if you think about that, our ability to tap into the knowledge and intelligence of our company or our organization and be able to leverage all that content that's been generated, all our knowledge, whether it's explicit knowledge or even the tacit knowledge that's in people's heads, when we start talking about the ability to have conversations, whether they're in forums, in Yammer, or whether they're conversations in Teams, our ability to save those conversations and be able to tag them or be able to tap into that knowledge, even our ability that when we're having a conversation, if I use an acronym or a term that you're not familiar with, that insight is now accessible with Project Cortex, where you can click right on it and take you into that topic to be able to understand who are the experts, a nice explanation of it, summarization of the knowledge around that topic, connecting you with the people and with the knowledge that exists around that topic.
That's fantastic. So for let's say business owners, this helps a lot, or let's say managers, this helps a lot in adopting. Let's not just adopting. Let's say expanding their team, getting new members. They don't need to spend, let's say, that much of time that they used to spend in getting. Finding who is the right place to, let's say, be the body for this person to learn about this. This can all happen through this built-in system.
Absolutely.
That's
In fact,
fantastic. Yeah.
I would say you talk about people who are product line or product owners, they can actually subscribe to those topics. And as people are adding content, having conversations, they can actually be better tapped in to what's happening around their products as well. Their ability to get feedback more quickly, be able to see knowledge and the evolution of what's happening, and even the ontologies, the connections between topics is going to be very valuable as people are trying to ramp up, but also people who are monitoring and managing product lines, customers. Think about this even from a sales perspective. Every conversation about a customer, all the documents about a customer, everything that evolves around your area of expertise, you want to keep your thumb on it. And Project Cortex, with its ability to manage and monitor these topics, keeps you really dialed in to what's happening. And there's some gamification around it. So those who are experts can actually see what are their expertise, how that's growing, and how their influence is growing across a given set of topics as well.
That's great. Yeah, when I think about it, I see a lot of businesses can leverage this because knowledge sharing is something that we need in almost like any business to grow, and this is exactly what it does.
And I think that the definitely the thing we need to not ignore as well is companies these days are investing a lot in automation and process automation, different aspects of automation. Well, when you have inbound content, whether it's faxes or emails, digital content, or even physical content, our ability to process that and be able to do either object detection or understanding the form electronic-based data and essentially being able to work with that to then be able to kick off workflows or work streams or kick off a robotic process automation. It allows you to kind of integrate those processes with the business and leverage the Power Platform. So whether it's Power Apps or Power Automate, it connects right with what's happening with the classification, the filtering, the grouping, and so on that's happening inside of Project Cortex.
That's great. Now, interesting discussion about Project Cortex. Let's now jump a bit on democratization of enterprise AI. What do you think about that?
So I absolutely think that what Project Cortex is doing is taking these AI, which has been kind of difficult to reach. So when you start saying AI has been kind of ethereal, it hasn't been something very tangible to humans. You know, the average person on the street, or even a small business. They're not thinking about, hey, what can AI do for me? But there's a lot of people in the development space who absolutely understand and see what is possible with AI. And so when you start saying, what happens when we start taking object detection, facial recognition, speech to text, and a number of these technologies and essentially bundle them and put them in the hands of the business in essentially ways that it's not coding, it's more like a maker type of experience where what if I take object detection and put it with my frontline worker? What, you know, the whether it's in the retail space or in oil and gas, you know, it doesn't depend on the industry. There's so many scenarios that it can really enhance what happens day to day. So this democratization of AI is absolutely and extremely important,
Great.
and it's game changing for the business.
Great. And how do you think that would, let's say, affect the jobs in the business? Do you think that would have a big impact?
You know, we talk about how AI over time, and especially all this automation, will eliminate jobs. I absolutely think that we're going to add jobs as it relates to Project Cortex coming into the enterprise because you need to train it. So we talk about imagine the fleet of robots that comes in. We need people to program the robots. You know, we need people to maintain those robots. And what we're talking about here with this technology is it needs training, it needs validation, it needs coaching. So there absolutely are jobs that are going to be created around Project Cortex with new roles that have never existed in the enterprise. You know, there's not that many companies today who have librarians, but we do have this opportunity essentially of having these new taxonomists, which the AI is doing the heavy lifting. All they need to do is say, yes, these are the things that we care about in our organization. These are relevant topics. And essentially, the taxonomies that it's building, the connections and ontologies, the grouping, the filtering, and even training it on your documents, that's work. You know, that's absolutely a space for jobs to be created in the enterprise. And these data scientists positions are very, very good, high-paying, great jobs to be had in the enterprise.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely liked how you mentioned it, that it brings a lot of like new opportunities. It's not like things just go away, nothing replaces them, which is exactly how it happens. So back to, let's say, using this Project Cortex, which is quite new things, how companies, businesses can start using it. Where to start?
Where to start? So in the next few months, we are going to see Microsoft announce the general availability of Project Cortex. People right now can go to aka.ms/Project Cortex, and it will take them to the place where they can actually sign up on a form to be notified. As well, there's a bunch of demos and a bunch more content on what we're talking about here. So I would recommend people to go to there to kind of get started. There's already some great YouTube videos. Naomi Moneypenny from Microsoft. She did a deep dive last year at Ignite. I absolutely expect there to be much more content with Ignite happening in September. So we're not far off from a bunch more content that's going to be released. And if you go to that same site we're talking about, there's monthly updates that are happening right now.
Great, fantastic, thank you. So everyone make sure to go and check that out if you are interested in Project Cortex. Any last thing you want to say that I didn't mention here?
Yeah, I actually, on my blog, collabshow.com, if you click on the link in the navigation for Project Cortex, I've gathered a few different infographics that I've created to kind of help wrap your mind around the new Knowledge Center and the Content Center, as well as kind of what are the things that Project Cortex does, but also the business value propositions. So there's some great content there. As well, I've done a couple of sessions around preparing for Project Cortex and helping companies understand what are the things they can do now, because you actually don't have to wait. You should get started now with the technology. And absolutely, the Power Platform already has a lot of the right hooks that plug right into Project Cortex, where you can already start working with AI in Project Cortex around the AI models and the object recognition. A lot of those things are already there. The
Great.
categorization type features in Azure as well.
That's fantastic. So everyone make sure to check that Tech Blog Collab Show, which is in the marquee below here. And I guess everyone who wants to contact with you, LinkedIn, Twitter, what are best ways to get in touch with you?
LinkedIn is a great way. I'm somewhat of an open connector with people in our technology industry, so definitely feel free to reach out. Twitter is also a great way to keep in touch. Facebook, they limit you to 5,000 connections, so I'm a little bit tight there. But absolutely open to connect and reach out. Let's connect. Love to chat with you. And thanks a lot for hosting me today.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, your invaluable time and insight. And thank you everyone for watching us again. Until next Tech Visionary interviews. See you later.